Even if the United States Senate and Biden passed this TikTok ban into law, it's very likely that the courts would rule that it's unconstitutional. And that's because when the government wants to regulate what is called a fundamental freedom, like freedom of speech or freedom to associate, the government has the burden of proof that they are using the least restrictive means possible to prevent the alleged threat or harm from occurring from the speech or conduct that they are seeking to regulate. So in this case, if the primary concern of the American government is the safety of Americans' data being held abroad or the manipulation of the content being shown to us by TikTok, the government would in turn have to prove that banning the app entirely is the least restrictive ways of protecting American citizens from the threat of data privacy concerns or our conversations being manipulated or misinformed. And that's going to be a really tough argument for the US government to make, especially when there are more limited proposals out there like Project Texas that would localize some of TikTok's data onto American soil and presumably satisfy some of these concerns that the US government is using as justification for the total ban. Which means that the court is going to say, look, US government, banning the app is not the least restrictive way to accomplish these national security concerns, because you're infringing on fundamental rights here of freedom of speech and association. If you really want to touch those rights, you need to come up with something that is more tailored, more specific, and less restrictive. But don't forget that all of this is hypothetical. The United States Senate has not acted on this legislation yet. It's completely unclear if they're going to pass it. And even if they do, even though Biden has said he would sign it, he still hasn't yet. We'll see if he would go through with it. But even if all of that does happen, the courts will most likely put a stop to this ban. Let me know what you think in the comments and follow for more legal analysis.